Hello everyone, and welcome to Trail Grazers, where we focus on great food on the trail. And we are planning some winter trips where we're going to be staying in hotels. And so we're going to want some kind of specialized foods to do what we'll need to do to cook meals in a hotel room. Now, what we're going to be doing today is something that is going to be very versatile when we are finished with it, because it will work for us for our winter trips. It will work for us for our summer trips with our trailer when we're out there on Blue, and it will work with us just on day trips when we're having lunch. And that is, we are going to do steak bites for the trail. Now, it's mid-afternoon, about 2 o'clock, and about an hour ago we got back from our favorite restaurant supply store in our town, which is an 80-mile round trip for us. And we picked up a really good buy on some flank steak. And this is it. We got about 18 pounds, and it comes in slabs like this, all stacked together, so it was a big mound of meat. And there were 5 slabs like this. There were 3 this size, and then there were 2 about this size. And they have yielded this much cubed meat so far, very little waste, so it has been a really good buy. Now what we are going to do is something a little bit different. We are going to use both sous vide and freeze drying. So we are going to sous vide these steak bites so that they are cooked. And they're going to be quite rare, but they're still going to be cooked through. And then we are going to freeze dry them. It's going to produce a little bit of juice when it's cooking in the sous vide. We're going to add that juice right to the freeze dry trays. And then we will bottle those steak bites up when we are completely finished. We will test some, and then in future videos we will be showing you some of the exact meals that we are going to do with these steak bites. But this video will take us all the way through processing this steak. So I'm almost done cutting it in about 1-inch chunks. Then I'm going to vacuum seal it and get it ready for putting in a sous vide water bath. When we get to that point, I'll come back to show you how the sous vide works. The reason that I chose to do these steak bites, cooking them using the sous vide method, is because sous vide does such a fabulous job of cooking meat, steak and chicken, everything. And I wanted something totally carefree. Now, if you do not have a sous vide set up, the alternative would be you could pan fry these until they are between medium rare and rare, because the recipes that I will be using will call for these to be cooked a little bit more, and so I don't want them too overdone, and I am accounting for that. And sous vide is just worry-free. I set it and I can walk away and come back in 3 hours and these will be done. No burning. If I forget and have it go 4 hours, the meat will be held at 130 for as long as I forget. And then when I come back, it's still at 130 and we can proceed from there. Well, the big involvement of my time is now done, over, finished, which I'm very glad. It's taken probably, about an hour and 20 minutes to get all of this done. And so I have one batch in the sous vide cooker right now. And all this is my large Cambro container that I make bread in, and I have filled it up to the line that's on the sous vide wand, up to the fill line almost. The meat has to be submerged, and I'll pull one out in just a second so you can see it, but as you can see up here, I am cooking at, the lower number is the temperature that it is set at. The higher number is the current registering temperature. What does it say now?
It says 129.9. You mixed them around.
Okay, so it should be at 130.
They both came up to 130.
Okay, so the bottom number is constant. That's what the thermostat is set at. The top number is what it is currently registering, so hopefully it will stay right at 130. I'm going to be processing these for 3 hours. I have 5 packets in there. Now I want to show you, I meant to keep one out and show you how I vacuum seal these, but I just got on a roll and finished them up before I realized it. And so what I have done, I have this roll of vacuum sealing plastic. It is sealed here and here. So I just cut widths about this wide, and then I put it in my vacuum sealer and I sealed one side, and then I filled the other side with meat. This is the first side sealed. I filled it with meat. The meat can be only a single layer. Usually I use Ziploc bags when I do sous vide, but not when I've got chunks, because otherwise, because even though I try to get all the air out, in little pieces of meat in the Ziploc bags would drift down to the bottom and bunch up. So these, for this recipe, needs to be vacuum sealed so that it holds the meat chunks in place. This is the side that I vacuum sealed after I filled it with meat. Now, notice I have quite a place right here that is devoid of meat, and that is because when I drop it down in, I like to clip it to the side of the bowl to hold it in place. Now, I'm going to get one out for you. The last one that I put in was this one. And you can see that it is already starting to cook and produce juice. Now, I did not add salt or pepper or anything to these because I want the capability of seasoning them how I want to for whatever individual recipe that I'm going to be using. The meat must stay submerged in the water. This is the most I have ever tried at one time, but ooh, that's hard to, there we go. So I have to just double check, come around every once in a while and be sure nothing has floated to the top. With the vacuum sealing and most of the air out, they stay submerged pretty well. So I have 5 in there, and I have 5 packets right here that will be going in the refrigerator. And then in 3 hours, when these are done, I will pull these out, let them cool, put them in the refrigerator, start this batch, and about the time we go to bed tonight, this batch will also be done and going in the refrigerator. So I will refrigerate them overnight, and then first thing in the morning we will come back as we open up these bags and get them ready on the freeze dryer trays to take out and put in Kelvin out in the freeze dryer lab. So we will see you early in the morning. It's the next morning and we are ready to go. We have 10 packets of chilled meat, and so that's going to be about 2.5 per tray. And I didn't weigh these, and so they may or may not be even when we get through. So here we go. Let's see what it's going to look like. Now, as I explained, I am going to save the juice on these because there's a lot of flavor in that juice. So we'll just go ahead and dehydrate the juice as well. Oh, I think we're going to have plenty of room for these. And these are rare, cooked to the rare stage so that we have lots and lots of leeway with how we are going to work with them after we freeze dry them. Yep, these trays are going to be full. The liquid is going to be probably about 1/4 inch deep across. And so it's going to take some time. So I will be back when all the trays are filled. Here we go, and they fit just exactly right. So I'm pretty thrilled about this. Jim and I each tasted a bite, and oh my gosh, they are tender and juicy and wonderful cold and no seasoning at all. So it was just the meat. Now I know this may look gross because the juice looks pretty bloody, but it is not raw blood at all. It has been cooked for 3 hours at 130 degrees, and it was not just blood in the first place. It was some bloody juices from the meat, but not just plain blood. As the meat cooks, it gives up some of its liquid, and that is what most of this is. After everything is all freeze-dried, we will be packing up both the meat and the dried juices in our jars, ready for some meals that we will explain about a little bit later. So the freeze dryer, Kelvin, has been cooling for the required 15 minutes. So we're going to head out there and get these in the freeze dryer. So meet you out there. Kelvin is ready, registering 35 degrees. And it has been cooling now for about 20 minutes. So we are ready to put these in. Our instructions say to load trays, done. Close drain valve. That's what we need to do. So the drain valve is now closed, and I can press continue, and it is now freezing. And so we will be back out here to check periodically, and when it's all finished, we will see you back in the kitchen. Here we are 50 hours later. Yes, 50, so it took a long time. I really love the way flank steak freeze dries. It's much less dense than some other cuts of beef, and so these pieces are just very light and airy, very light and airy. And they have a little bit of give to them. At first I thought the give was because they weren't done, but Jim and I both tested them and they're just fine. I have a little bit of hot water in this bowl, so I'm going to drop in about 3 pieces here, and we'll see how long it takes for them. I want to get a bigger one. See how long it takes for them to rehydrate. Meanwhile, we're going to fill up these jars. And I'm picking up the crumbs as well, because I want them in the jar. Okay. Let's see how these are coming. Well, they're done. They are completely done. So they rehydrate very fast. I like it very much that these do rehydrate very, very quickly. And then they are ready to do a whole variety of things with. Our next video that we have is going to be a hotel room meal using these steak bites. And so I'm going to be working on that over the next few days, and we'll bring that to you probably next weekend. So I'm going to go ahead and fill these, and we'll bring you back when everything is all finished up. Here we have it. This one I'm just about ready to vacuum seal with this handy little portable battery-powered vacuum sealer that I love. So they are all labeled and dated, and we have 6 quarts. So I'm very, very pleased with the results, and looking forward to my brain is just buzzing with ideas of how we can use this when we are out on the trail. It will be a little bit different when we are attempting to cook a main meal, an evening meal in a hotel room, but we're going to give it a try, and I have a meal in mind to show you next week that we will test right here in our kitchen to see if it's going to work. All right, this is done. Yep. So we'll see you next week then for a hotel room meal using these steak bites. And then probably later on with some more ideas of how we can use more of our foods for hotel room cooking. So thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you out there on the trail.